Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. This is Soft Flow Yoga. It's a 60-minute gentle yoga practice, perfect for any beginner or even if you're a seasoned yoga practitioner. So for our practice today, I thought we'd go through one of my favorite poses, and there's a variety of them, and it's just the warrior poses. So we'll break down some of those postures and even do some modifications of some of those postures. For our props today, we'll just use our basic ones. Of course, a blanket or something soft that you can sit on or kneel on. I've got my blanket here nicely folded. A couple of yoga blocks or some hardbound books can come in handy. Nice big pillow or cushion. This could also just be to sit on, but also nice for your Shavasana practice. The other prop that you may want to use for one of our poses is just a wall, a table, a chair, something that can help you balance. I'm just going to use my wall over here. Alrighty, that's it. So let's go ahead and begin our practice. So I invite you to take a comfortable seat. Feel free to sit on your pillow or a blanket or a towel. And as you take your seat, just check in with your body. You might roll your shoulders a few times, even a little ear to shoulder for a neck stretch. Even nod, just send your head downward and then back up to neutral. Just a few times. And a nice, full, deep, cleansing breath. And then just find yourself settling into the space. And you're welcome to keep your eyes open for this. You can just gaze forward or just softly downward. You can just soften your eyes. Or you can close your eyes as we take this journey inward. This moment of silent and breathing meditation. Keep tuning into your breath. Get reacquainted with your breathing. For now, they're just slow, steady breaths. Feeling how your body is responding to your breath. And even listening to the sound of your breath. Just concentrating on the feeling and the sound. Focusing in like this allows us to just to gently push aside the things that are going on outside of us. So we can focus on what's going on inside. And just to bring a little bit more awareness and even energy to your breathing, when you inhale, just take a deep breath as you're able and just feel that breath rising upward to fill up your lungs. Then as you exhale, draw your navel inward toward your spine. We call that the abdominal lock. It's just a light engagement or a contraction of the abdominal muscles. What we're really doing is allowing the breath to stay high up in the torso region. So when you inhale and feel that breath rising to expand the lungs, we try to hold that sensation upward without allowing it to drop back down, and that's why we create the lock. So when you exhale, you just pull belly in. And we just continue with that process. And inhale to continue lifting up, breath rising, filling up the lungs, and keeping this uplifting sensation, we exhale, connecting to center. And just do that a few more times. Very good. Just go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take two more. Good. Now we'll begin our moving meditation very simply. We'll inhale now to extend the arms out across the room, reaching out and then all the way up towards the ceiling. Just treat it like a nice stretch. Then exhale, extend your arms out across the room as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you. And let your arms come right back down by your side. Again, inhale, reaching out with some good effort as you extend the arms out and then all the way up. And exhale, that same extension, same energy, reaching outward. Arms come back down. Now go ahead and continue to move and breathe at your own pace. Taking your arms out, then all the way up, and then right back down. And as you're breathing and perhaps moving in slow motion, just notice the sensations in your body. What do you feel? Certainly the energy in the arms, outstretched hands, even energy shooting through your fingertips. Notice your shoulders as your arms float up and down. And when you reach into the air also, feel the lengthening not only of the spine, but also through the sides of the body, lifting. And don't forget when you exhale, drawing navel inward towards spine to keep that abdominal lock engaged. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on right now. We'll take 2 more breaths. Just again moving at your own pace, no rush. And then when you're complete, you can just let your hands relax in your lap. Notice how your shoulders relax. Take a few deep breaths here in stillness. Still sitting up nice and tall. Let's bring the hands behind us, just propped up onto your fingertips. With the arms behind you, you can feel the shoulders also draw back, but add a little bit more energy to that by really almost pulling them back. You're going to feel that sensation. What you're doing there to do that is engaging your upper back muscles. Then we'll tip the chin up just a little bit. We just want to create a little bit more space in the upper chest area, opening up through the heart, since we're doing a seated mild back bend. Now as we inhale, just press into the ground with the fingertips. Again, that same energy kind of shoots up the arms, right up to the shoulders. And then fill up your lungs with a full inhale. Nice. Then exhale, draw your belly in, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together. So with this seated back bend, we're adding more sensation to the body. So be aware. Breathe in again. Breathe in. Pushing into the floor, strong arms, shoulders rolled back, heart opening, lungs expanding. The exhale, squeezing shoulder blades together, belly draws in. Go ahead and just take 2 more breaths. And then when you're complete, just lower your chin so your neck is neutral, looking forward. You can walk your hands toward yourself. Rest your hands in your lap. Sit up nice and tall, and again, allow your body to completely relax after that engaging feeling. After we completed our back bend, we'd like to take a forward fold. So here, if your legs happen to be crossed, uncross your legs. We're going to place the soles of the feet together. This is bound angle pose, commonly known as cobbler's pose. Here's where you can use your blocks or some books or even some small pillows and just tuck them underneath the legs right here so the legs rest on an object as they're opened here, because they may not necessarily reach the floor, and they don't have to. And then just hold on to your ankles or shins so you're able to sit up nice and tall as we begin. Now inhale as you grow a little taller. Again, breath rising, fill up your lungs. Keep that uplifting sensation. Exhale, draw belly in, and then we're going to move. Just hinge forward a tiny bit, not much, just a tiny bit. Hold right here. Another breath in, more extension through the spine at this new angle. Exhale, draw belly in, hinge forward a tiny bit more. Let's hold here for several breaths. Now this could be the end of the movement if you'd like. You just want to be able to be at a place where you have some sensation, but it doesn't feel binding, it doesn't feel pushed or forced. So perhaps you're feeling or sensing something in the inner legs. If you're not, maybe you can go a little deeper without forcing the body. Let's hold here a couple more breaths. Then if you'd like to go deeper, you can also do this. Just lower your chin a little bit, Let your back round, which creates a little bit more space so you can fold a little bit more. Again, not compromising the body. Breathing deeply. Now here, really as a balance, breathe into your upper back body, especially if your back is rounded. See if you can puff up your back, filling up your lungs, just as when we were in our back bend, leaning back, opening up through the heart space or front body. You can do the same here. Let's just take 3 more breaths. That nice expanded back, which might even stretch some of the muscles in your back. As we're seated in cobbler's pose, a nice hip opener and a little stretch in the inner legs. Let's re-extend the spine by just lifting the chin, neck neutral, along with the rest of the spine. Then hinge your way up. You might even press your hands into the floor to assist yourself as you rise back up. Hold here for a moment. Take a breath. All right, let's move our props to the side here. And then take your time to make your way to your hands and knees. And you may want to use your padding to protect your knees and your hands here. So just come to a little tabletop like so, neutral position, pause for a moment. Again, just be sure your neck is nice and long, your gaze is downward for the moment, and then we'll begin. Inhale to tip the chin up, so you might be looking forward. It's also a way of opening the heart. At the same time, your pelvis tips back, so the belly kind of drops. And we create this U shape or bowl shape with your back, and that's our back bend. Now with the exhale, tuck the pelvis under, feel the belly button pull up towards spine, the back rounds, and the chin comes in towards chest. That's cat pose. Inhale, reverse it, tip the pelvis back, belly drops, the back arches, open the heart, look forward, cow pose. Exhale. Now I'm going slowly, so you can follow me, or you might be going at your own pace, which is ideal. Really just want to feel the movement of the spine, which really opens quite a bit in your back, right down along the spine, stretches the muscles that support the back. We're also getting this movement, this rocking sensation in the pelvis. Our pelvis, that region of the body, can certainly get tight, with muscles and ligaments. So we want to keep it mobile as much as we can in a safe way. Finish this breath that you're on and take 2 more. When you're finished, just pause in this neutral tabletop position. Let's take a rest from being on the hands, because this is a forced flexed position with the hands and they can get a little tired. So what you may want to do is tuck your toes and start to shift back and crawl back, and just enough where you can actually take your hands off the floor. I call this half hero. Instead of a forced flex, we're just going to flip the palms under, and I like to do just a gentle pulse of the back of the hand or the top of the hand into my mat 2 or 3 times. Very gently there, just to get a counter stretch. Okay, affecting all through the wrist and maybe into the forearm area, since we were force flexing that. All right, let's go ahead and crawl off of our pad. We'll set it to the side and we'll get ready for downward facing dog. I'm going to place the hands out front here. And you might even step the hands forward so they're out from underneath your shoulders. Spread out your fingers pretty wide so you can feel that stretch between each finger. Even grip your mat a bit with your fingertips. Nice, firm, solid foundation you're creating. And then push into the mat so your palms go flat, but also feel the strength and energy in your arms. Now tuck your toes. Let's do another cat and cow, starting with cow. That's the inhale, creating the back bend. Exhale, let's round it out. Hold cat pose, chin to chest, hold, and then lift your knees off the floor. Send your hips into the sky. You might need to step the feet forward, even a little wider if you need to for good balance, as you create downward facing dog. Here, hands are still pressing firmly into the ground. Very good bend in the knees so the hips can lift easily.
nod your head and shake your head a little bit. Sometimes we hold our heads with tension in this posture, so just loosen it up. Now we'll look straight down and then start walking both feet forward just enough until your feet are flat on the mat. You might end up in the center of your mat, which is just fine. Slide your hands if you need to towards your toes. You'll be in forward fold. Now inhale, slide your hands up the legs a bit to help extend the spine. You're only rising up halfway. We're going to hold here so you're flat like a table. Make sure you have a good bend in your knees. Balanced on 2 feet, long spine. There's an energy moving from the tailbone to the back of the room, and an energy from the top of your head or your crown to the front of the room. Carefully shift the energy into your heels as you bend your knees. Tip your upper body up or forward a bit. Maybe place hands on thighs and push into the thighs to help you stand. Then sweep your arms out and up into the air as you grow tall, creating extended mountain pose. Then exhale, bring your arms down to your side, finishing that sequence. Again, here you might want to roll your shoulders. Even take a moment to check in with your elbows. I like to do a little circle with the elbows, maybe both directions, and then same with the wrists, since we did a lot of work on our hands and knees. Okay. All right, let's do our forward fold and come right back up. That's our half salute to the sun, just keeping the body in motion. Starting tall, shoulders rolled back, nice long neck, focus forward. Here we go. Inhale, reaching out and up, moving at your own pace. As you exhale, take your arms out, spreading your wings really for balance, shifting your weight into your heels, bend your knees, and then sit back into an imaginary chair, allowing your belly to come down towards thighs. Your arms will naturally come down, let gravity take over, and let the head go loose. Then inhale, slide your hands up the legs, return to that halfway lift pose right here. This is just called half forward fold. Pause for a moment. Shift your energy into your heels, bend your knees, tip your chest up, spread your wings. Inhale, stand up tall, reaching into the sky. Yes, exhale, arms return to your side. Perfect. Alrighty. Again, you can shake things out if you'd like. Let's move into our variation of Warrior 1. And since this is our Warrior Pose class, this will be considered our first variation of a warrior. I'm going to quickly adjust my mat. Should be okay there. Alrighty, so here we go. Again, standing nice and tall in our mountain pose. Let's put a little softness or a good bend in the knees. Start shifting your weight into your right foot. Root down into the floor so you feel strong in that foot. You might lean forward just a little bit. Keep your core engaged just for balance, and we're stepping or tapping the left foot back. The heel will be lifted, kind of a forced flex in the toes. Then we're going to pivot or turn and press that heel into the floor as you shift your body back. So you're here in this position, very balanced. We're facing forward, but you do that by placing hands on hips, pushing pelvis down, and feel very tall in the spine, creating space in this belt line area, and then turn forward. Then inhale, extend both arms up into the air. With the exhale, bend your elbows and just bring them down to 90 degrees, holding here for a moment. So one variation of Warrior 1. We'll be doing Warrior 1 again, differently. And of course, we've got some other variations of the posture. I'm going to add something here in a moment. Let's try this. We're going to inhale, extend the arms straight up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Usually bring them to our hips, but this time bring the hands behind you. Reach. And I'm just going to kind of lunge a little bit forward like this. I just put a little bit more weight into my front foot as the arms extend back behind me. Feeling as if you're reaching for the back corners of your mat. Just check in with the shoulders. Be sure they are behind your heart. And as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together. This is actually getting us prepared for another variation of our warrior. 2 more breaths. After the second breath, you can relax the shoulders, even bring hands to hips if you like. Keep that weight forward in this front foot so we can just step forward, bringing the feet together. Let's stand up tall, a nice realignment of the body as both arms go up into the air. Exhale, arms can return to your side.
If you want to, you can again shake everything out as we get set up for the other side. Mountain pose, soft knees. Start shifting weight into left foot, well grounded, core connected. That's just an exhale to engage the abdominal lock. Lean forward a little bit. You might even feel your left set of toes grip the mat. And then start tapping the right foot back. Just feel it naturally end right there with the heel lifted. Pause. And then we'll pivot or turn that heel so we can press it into the floor, shifting the weight back to center, right about here. Place hands on hips, push pelvis downward as you feel tall up top, making lots of space in the belt line so you can easily turn to face forward. Inhale to extend both arms up into the sky. Exhale, bend elbows right there. If you'd like, because eventually we are going to bring the arms behind us, what you could do here is just bring the arms back a bit and send the chest forward. Not much at all. You might feel the chest open a bit more, and you might even feel the muscles in your back engage or just have sensation there. All right, let's get ready for that new movement. We're going to inhale, shoot the arms straight up. Exhale, you can bring the arms down to your side, but then reach back behind you like this. We're going to lean forward and just put a little extra weight into this front foot so the upper body is at an angle as we reach back for the back corners of the mat. Ensure your shoulders are rolled back and down, then squeeze to center. Here's an image you might create. Imagine you have a pencil right along your spine, and you're just trying to squeeze the muscles together to hold that pencil. Active hands, so spread out your fingers. 2 more breaths. And then go ahead and just bring hands to your hips. Weight is already forward. We're just going to step forward, feet together. Then we'll inhale, get nice and tall. Reach both arms up into the air. And exhale, arms return to your side. Take another moment if you'd like to shake things out. All right, let's just keep things moving. Returning to mountain pose, let's fold and make our way into our sun salutation with the new set of warrior 1 positions. Here we go. Inhale, reaching into the sky, strong straight line. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into the imaginary chair. The weight shift is in the heels. Arms come down, gravity takes over. Belly comes down towards thighs. Everything releases. Inhale, slide your hands up to the shins or knees, extending your spine, the top of your head leading you forward. This exhale, we're going to fold all the way back down. Bend your knees a whole lot more. Even let your back round more. So you can bring your hands to the mat. So you can start stepping, take as many steps as you need to the back end of your mat. Once you've got them back there, just straighten the body so your shoulders are relatively over the wrists. This is plank pose. Let's breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air. And there's downward facing dog. Again, you might want to step forward a little bit, even take the feet a bit wider. That can just help with some of the balance in this posture. Make sure your fingers feel spread out, pressing firmly into the mat with the flat palms. Relax the head. There's our downward facing dog. Let's get ready for our next warrior 1 position. We're going to inhale, lift the right foot and extend your right leg back behind you. It doesn't have to go very far. It does not have to lift high. As you exhale, bend the right knee. Bring it in underneath you towards your chest or chin. Shift your body forward so again your shoulders are aligned over your wrists. And then just set the right foot down, just your toes. And then you can set the left knee down. This will lighten the hands so that you can actually reach back and go get your right foot, pick it up and place it up a little higher on your mat. This is going to put more distance between the feet for our warrior 1. Relift the left knee, pivot or turn left heel to the floor. And even walk your hands back a little bit so you can start to put more weight and pressure in that back foot. That's what we want. Now you align yourself so you're over, your upper body is kind of over your thigh, and your crown or your head is pointing in the same direction as your right foot. Make sure the spine is long. We're going to inhale and just lift ourselves up, hinging from the hips, rising up, reaching into the air. Exhale, just bend that right knee so you can lunge a little deeper. So here's our second variation of warrior 1. A couple more breaths.
Noticing this nice stretch perhaps happening down. It actually kind of starts in the mid torso, kind of the lower region, right down past the hip into the upper or front leg portion. Nice stretch. Okay, breathe in. We're going to exhale and turn the torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Now we've moved our way into Warrior Two. Make sure your right knee and your toes are pointing forward. If you need to make some adjustments with your feet, this is a good time to do that. I like to turn that back foot out a little bit so it doesn't aggravate my knee. And you can even take the feet a little wider if you want, but not necessary. Lunging a little deeper, creating a little bit more stretch in the inner legs. Let's move into side angle pose, reaching forward a little bit, angled upper body, then you can rotate the arms. So your right hand will be reaching down, or your left hand is reaching straight up towards the ceiling. Now my right hand is right against the thigh, so I'm kind of high up in the pose. You can certainly be lower, where your arm is on the inner leg, or even able to touch the floor with this right hand, or bring in a prop like a book or a block. Stay here, but you're going to bring your left hand down behind you to your low back. Either your hip right here or to the low back right here. And then roll this left shoulder back and pull it back if you're able, so they have a nice opening through the chest. All right, this too is also getting us ready for another posture that's coming up. We want to be able to bring our arms behind us. That's why we're doing this. And then as you're able, some energy of the upper body. I'm trying to send my upper body forward, out over this right thigh. My crown or the top of the head is pointing in the same direction as the knee and toes. Okay, let's move. Let's inhale, re-extend left arm straight up into the air. We're going to exhale and carefully turn towards the floor, fold and bend. Bring the hands to the floor, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. So you'll be in a runner's lunge. Push into the floor strongly with the hands. You might even lift your hips if you're able, just to lighten the load of that right foot to slide it back into plank pose. We're going to take a pause here. Bring the knees to the floor. Tuck your toes. Sit back to your half hero just for a moment. And just, if you can, just hold here in this half hero, just with tucked toes. Or leaning forward if that feels too much pressure on the toes. And you can even take a moment to counter stretch the wrists. Okay, just a brief break here as we get ready for the other side. All right, when you're ready, you can bring the hands back out in front. Be sure you spread out your fingers. We should be ready just to lift the knees and then the hips straight up into the air. Make sure you maintain a good bend in the knees so the hips can really lift high for a nice straight spine. Push into the floor with the hands and even a bit more pressure towards your thumbs and index fingers. Shake your head so it's loose. Ready to move. Here we go. Inhale, lift the left foot, extend the left leg up behind you. Doesn't have to lift high. Exhale, bend that left knee in the air. Bring it in underneath you towards your chest, shifting body forward, shoulders over the wrists, and just set the left foot down. It doesn't matter where it lands, unless you can bring it up to the foot. I'm sorry, if you can bring it up to the hand, that's great. Otherwise, we're setting the right knee down. We're just going to go get that left foot, bring it up higher. Now we're ready. Re-lifting the right knee, pivot right heel to the floor. I'm stepping the hands back so I can get more weight and pressure in that back foot. Now I have to realign my upper body so it's long, out over the left thigh. The top of the head is pointing forward, same direction as my toes in front. Make sure the back is straight, then hinge from hips, rising up facing forward while the arms go straight up into the air. That's an inhale, and exhale, just lunge. We'll hold here for several breaths. I'm really activating this back leg, okay? Even feeling like I'm trying to send like the outer thigh to the back of the room. You'll feel that engagement. And as I reach up and I'm facing forward, I'm in a slight twist, so I get the stretch quality down through the right hip flexor. Here we go. Breathe in. Exhale, opening here to the right side of the room for your Warrior Two position. I'm going to relax the arms so I can adjust my feet. I like to turn the right foot out so the knee feels good. I'm going to take this slightly wider, not much. Lunge slightly deeper. Feel tall in the torso. Now outstretch the arms. This is our Warrior Two. We're going to reach forward, angled upper body, rotate the arms. Reach down, reach up. I'm going to stay up high. You certainly can go a little lower. But again, soft flow, not needing to force or push the body. And we certainly don't need to go too fast. A few more breaths. Feel the sensations of the pose as the body benefits from the pose. We're going to bring the right hand down behind to low back or your right hip. Roll that right shoulder back. Hold it back as the chest opens for a few more breaths. Deep breaths. Remember, there's this quality of extending through the torso, as if you're trying to shoot yourself forward. The head, the top of your head is pointing in the same direction as your left knee and toes. Let's move. Inhale, re-extend the right arm up into the air. Our exhale, we're carefully turning and folding, going down to the earth. Hands are on the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. There's our nicely aligned pose, our runner's lunge. Press firmly into the floor with the hands. Strong arms, lifted hips. Unlock that left foot, slide or step it back. Plank pose, hold. We'll take another rest. Bring the knees to the floor. We'll do another half hero, either all the way up or even at an angle. Stretch those wrists. Just a couple times. Let's get into a back bend, and then we're going to continue with our warrior poses. So we're taking a little seat here. I'm adjusting my mat. There we go. And make sure you've got your books or blocks or a big pillow if you want, something firm right next to you ready to go. And then go ahead and roll down onto your back. Once you're down, go ahead and draw the knees into chest. Some movement here is certainly appropriate. I'd even suggest moving the feet since your feet are free. Some circles in both directions. Even flexing the feet and pointing, just to get into the joints of the feet. Let's get ready for our supported bridge pose. Our back bend. We're going to set the feet onto the floor. They could be at hip distance. They can certainly be wider. I usually go a little wider than the hips. Breathe in, fill up your lungs. Exhale, engaging the belly. This is all the same. You're still engaging the abdominal lock. Lifting the hips as high as you need to so you can slide your books or blocks underneath you and then just take a seat. So it's a more comfortable position to be in. Here's another opportunity as you're able to get your arms underneath you, your shoulders a little bit more underneath you. Now your arms can just stay flat and straight on the floor, but all we have done here is trying to get the shoulders a little bit more underneath as a light engagement of the squeezing of the shoulder blades together. Again, go back to that image of squeezing a pencil. But you don't really have to actively squeeze it. And then just indulge yourself in some deep breaths. These breathing sensations are a way to help open the whole front side of your body. Let's take 3 more breaths. All right, preparing for our next round of warrior poses. Alrighty, relax. Next, exhale. Press feet into the floor to engage the legs so you can lift your hips, so you can slide your blocks out from underneath you, and then carefully roll your way down to the floor. Once you've made it down, go ahead and extend the legs out front and reach the arms behind you as a way to lengthen, stretch, and even decompress the spine, particularly in the low back and hip area. Bring the knees into chest once again. Now you can rock your way up to seated or roll to one side to seated. That's what I'm doing, rolling to my side and using my hands to lift myself up so I come to seated. Let's just take a quick cobbler's pose. Soles of the feet together. Sit up nice and tall as you inhale. Exhale, hinge forward just a little bit, not much. We're not going to stay here too long. This is really just a transitional movement. Soften. Swing the legs back behind you. Return to hands and knees. We're preparing for downward facing dog. We're preparing for our next set of warrior positions. Hands out front, spread out your fingers. Press into the ground, strong straight arms. Tuck your toes. Let's do cat-cow. Inhale, lift head and heart. There's our back bend. Exhale, round it out. There's cat. Hold cat pose. Feel the core engagement. Lift the knees, send the hips into the air. Adjust your feet. Relax your head and neck. Downward facing dog. Again, we're lifting the right foot. Extend the leg back behind you. As you exhale, bend the right knee, shift forward. If you're able, bring foot closer up to the hand. If you're unable, do that same transition we did earlier. I'm moving on. I'm spinning the left heel to the floor behind, walking the hands back so there's more pressure in that back foot. Elongate the torso out over the thigh. Inhale, hinge from hips, rising up, reaching into the air. Exhale, hold for a moment. Just again, arriving in Warrior 1. We're getting ready for a Warrior 2. And yes, we are doing a Warrior 3 today. Inhale, here we go. Exhale, opening to Warrior 2. Just arrive in the pose. If you need to, relax the arms, make some adjustments with the feet. That's all I did. I like to turn that foot out, wider stance, and I can take the arms back out. New pose. We're reversing the warrior. So another posture, you're going to flip the right palm up and then reach up into the air with the right hand, while the left hand maybe just comes down to the thigh. Now this is enough for the pose right here. Now for me, my hips are a little sensitive, my back is sensitive, and so if I was going to reach back a little further, I need to really strongly support my pelvis. So I take my left hand, place it on the hip here, and I'm pushing forward, okay, towards where my front foot is, okay, that way. So I'm pushing this direction, yes? And slightly down, which stabilizes the pelvis, which allows me to lift up and even lean back a little bit more. So I feel very strong here, but you can soften this up as you'd like. But this is just one way to really support the pelvis if you're reaching back behind you. This is our reversed warrior position. Let's come back up. Right here, re-extend the arms for a moment, Warrior 2, and then relax the arms. Shake them out. Okay, if your legs need a break, you can also step out of this posture, but we're not done yet. Alrighty, now stay right where you are. I'm just going to flip around because we're doing another warrior position. I want you to see the back side of this. Okay, so we're still in our warrior lunge. We're doing humble warrior. This is where the arms are going to come behind us, but start in your Warrior 2, arms extended, reach out, inhale. As you exhale, bring the arms down and behind you. And reach back, kind of like what we did earlier. Reach back, roll the shoulders back, squeeze shoulder blades together, feel that imaginary pencil between the spine. Now I'm turning my torso a little bit kind of up towards this left corner, where my left corner of the mat is, just kind of turning that direction. Now, inhale, tip the chin up a little bit as a way of opening up through the heart. Fill up your lungs. And we're going to exhale and just hinge forward, like so. It's a bowing position. You can go as low as you want. I'm just going to come right to my thigh. So my torso is actually kind of resting on the thigh. Meanwhile, those active arms are just reaching back. In another version of the pose, we would interlace the fingers here and even bow deeper. But for soft flow, we can just reach with the arms. Go ahead and bring the arms down and right down to the floor. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press firmly into the ground with the palms. Strong straight arms. Lift the hips a bit. Slide the right foot back. Plank pose. Let's make our way right away to downward facing dog. If you need to rest, you can certainly rest. We're doing that whole same circuit on the other side. Inhale, lift the left foot, extend the left leg up behind you. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you. Shift body forward as you're able, land close up to that left hand. If you can't, do that same transition we did earlier. Pivot right heel to the floor when you're ready. Step the hands back, get some good weight. We want balance. Okay, on the feet, elongate your torso, straight and strong out over the left thigh. Inhale, hinge from hips, rise up, reach into the air. There's our first warrior hold. So we can arrive in our Warrior 1. Inhale again, and let's exhale, open it to Warrior 2. I'm I'm going to pause, relax my arms so I can adjust my feet and go a little deeper. So here's our warrior two. We're going to reverse the warrior. Flip the left palm up. Reach into the sky. Now the right arm can just rest on your leg back here. Very soft, nothing's happening. Or hand on hip. That's fine there too. Or that stabilizing movement where you're pushing forward and slightly downward, allowing you to really reach and maybe lean back a little bit more. Again, just kind of tune in, check in with your body, notice what it needs and what it's feeling. If this is too much, you don't have to go this far for the reversed warrior position. And your gaze might be upward past this left hand. Okay, we're going to come back up to our warrior two, reaching out. Go ahead and relax your arms. You can shake out those shoulders again. Alrighty, we're going to do our humble warrior. I'm just going to flip around again so you can see the back side of this. Okay, arms are extended. Here we go. Breathe in to get a little longer with the arms. Reach out. Exhale, bring the arms down behind you. Active arms, active hands. Reach. Shoulders should be rolled back. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Even imagine you're holding onto a box perhaps behind you. Hold on to it. Your arms will engage. This is great for your arms. Okay, and start to turn your torso a little bit towards the right corner of the room or your mat. Inhale, tip the chin up. Feel the expansion of the lungs and heart space. And exhale, fold or hinge forward, even down to where the torso touches or lands on the left thigh. That's fine. The hands behind you might be reaching up and back. If you can interlace the fingers, or even just bring the hands together, okay, you can try that, or just keep reaching with free hands. Humble warrior, this bowing position. One more breath. And we're going to relax the arms, bring the hands down to the floor. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. There's our runner's lunge. Activate by pressing hands strongly into the floor, straight arms. If you can, kind of lift the hips, unlock that left foot, slide or step it back. Plank pose, hold. Let's take a little breather. Bring the knees to the floor. Sit back to half hero. We can even call this quarter hero, since we're not even going down all the way. I'm just going to do a little pulse of those wrists. Now we're going to make our way back up to standing so we can get ready for our last and final warrior position, which is warrior three. It is a balancing pose, so you'll need something to help you with balance. That could be a wall, a table, or a chair. Okay, let's make our way back out to hands and knees, hands out front. Lift the knees, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Make sure you relax your head and neck. Hold for a breath. Now look straight down at the floor or the mat. Walk your feet forward until your feet are flat on your mat underneath you. As needed, slide your hands toward your toes. You'll be in forward fold. Inhale, rise up just halfway by sliding the hands up to the shins or knees. Pause in this flat back position. Now, when we do our warrior three, we're not going to do it from here. It's almost like this. The only difference here is that the arms would be shooting out front and one leg will be reaching back behind us. And our back would be flat like this. So that's kind of what the pose might look like. But we're going to do it a little differently. Weight shift into the heels, bend your knees, tip your heart up, spread your wings. Inhale, stand up nice and tall, reaching into the sky. Then exhale, arms to your side. Very nice. Shake things out. All right, here's where we're going to use that wall, table, or chair, something that you can place a hand on, at least one hand, okay? Now I'm facing this direction. My left hand is on this little ledge I've got right here. We're going to start with soft knees. We are going to balance on the right foot. So wherever you are situated, we're going to be balancing on the right foot. Soft knees, start shifting weight into right foot. I'm leaning forward. I'm just using this nice ledge. I can just lean right into the ledge here as I tip or tap this left foot back, kind of like we did earlier, but I'm just going to be really light on my toes. Now I'm at this nice angle here. Make sure this right knee is soft. All I'm basically doing, I call this kind of like a scale. As my head and heart go down, my left leg goes up. And so I'm moving towards that capital T shape in the body. But you don't have to go all the way. This could be enough right here. Be sure you have a bend in the knees so you're really working in the leg muscles and not locked into the joint. If you can go a little bit deeper, feel free. If you need both hands out there on that prop like your wall or table, use it. So this is our Warrior 3 position. This lifted leg, really push through the heel or even point your toes. This will get into the glutes. This is great for the back of the legs. Okay, we're finished. We're tipping back up, bringing that left foot back down to the floor. Balanced. How do you feel? So that's a wonderful balancing act that strengthens the legs. I'm just going to do the other side. If you need to turn around, I'm just going to try to use the same side here. I'll just use my door right here, okay? So whenever you're ready, we like to start with soft knees. Remember, throughout the process, really keep the knees bent so you're really working in the leg muscles. We're going to be balancing on the left foot. So shift weight into the left foot. I'm leaning forward. I'm just letting this door catch me. I'm tapping the right foot back. And I'm really just on the tip of my toe right there. As I inhale, I get a little longer through that back leg and torso. Exhale, I'm just tipping a little bit. I'm going to bend my left knee a whole lot more there so I don't lock it. And that's it. That could be the end of the pose. You can certainly go a little lower where you come to that capital T shape. I'm going to step back a little bit so you can kind of see that. So I can go down much lower like this and take that right leg back behind me. So there's that capital T I was talking about. And see how it's similar to that halfway lift we did? Instead, we just have one leg in the air and the arms are out front, or at least one arm. Very strong. Let's do that one good flex of that right foot to get into the hamstring and glutes. This is great for your glutes. We're rising back up. Bringing the toes back down to the floor. I'm just stepping forward so I'm balanced on 2 feet. And there we are, finishing that segment. Take some deep breaths. Nice deep cleansing breaths. Circle the shoulders, check in with your elbows, hands and wrists. And then we'll make our way down to the earth to finish our practice. So those are some ideas and some postures we know as warrior. Mountain pose, here we go. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into your imaginary chair, slowly folding. Belly comes down towards your thighs. Arms relax, let the head relax here at the end. Inhale, slide your hands up the shins. Here's that halfway lift. And all the way down we go. Bend your knees a whole lot. Round your spine, hands to the floor, and start walking the feet back into plank pose. Once you're there, just straighten out the body as best as you can, like so. Hold for strength, 1 breath. And then we'll set the knees onto the floor. We'll sit back briefly in hero, but really just to sit off to the side. We'll swing the legs around to the front, sit in the center of your mat. Before you lie down, again, bring in a block or two, or 1 book or 2, because we'll use that for our next pose. Go ahead and roll down carefully onto your back, hug the knees into chest. Add some movement here. Nice massage. Deep breaths to go with this too, since the body in this position probably feels a lot more relaxed than some of the more engaging postures we've done. So some light stretches, gentle movements, and deep breaths. And then check in with the feet again. Circles, flex, and point. We're going to go back to our bridge pose. So you're going to set the feet down. Make sure you got your blocks handy. Inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale to engage the belly, lift the hips, slide your blocks underneath you. Sit. We're going to hold for just a few breaths, just to reconnect to our bridge pose. Now, the first time we had the shoulders underneath us, okay, which gets the arms underneath us. It really just opens the chest more. Now, you can do this if you want, or just a little bit more relaxed, okay, where they're just kind of out at their natural place, and just hold here. That's fine as well. 1 more breath. We're just going to turn this into an extension or an inverted pose, meaning we're going to take the legs in the air. Now you can do this on the blocks or just one block or one book or something lower or with no props at all. When you're ready, just extend one leg and then two legs as you're able up into the air. So that's our inversion. Maybe you'll start with active legs and feet. Right now my legs they're pretty straight here, and I have the feet flexed so the heels feel like they're reaching up towards the ceiling. You can point your toes. You can even go back to that circling in the ankles, both directions. You can even bend your knees. You can even be in your inverted posture with bent knees. Let's try something here. Now, there's a pose that is often done upside down, which is called shoulder stand. So this is kind of a milder variation of shoulder stand. We're just propped up on the blocks. And from shoulder stand, we can actually move into a pose that's called Plow Pose. Basically, we would be taking the legs and feet down behind the head towards the toes. Now that wouldn't be quite available to us at this moment. But here's a variation that I like to do. First, let's just rest. Let's bring the feet back down to the floor. Now I've got two blocks, and they're not very thick, but I'm going to remove one of them, I think. Let's see. I wonder if that'll work. Well, I might need to keep the two blocks. If you have one thicker block, just use the one thicker block. And you're still sitting on it. Okay, we are going to return to that extended leg in the air motion. But you want to feel like your hips that are sitting on the blocks, they're more kind of on the edge. Okay, so it feels like the legs want to naturally go back behind you. And that's basically the variation of the pose. So I'm really on the edge of my blocks and my legs are coming back behind me. Okay, just like this. You can do this with bent knees. Okay, but imagine the legs were coming down and your toes are coming down to the floor behind your head. And that would be Plow Pose. This is just a variation. One more breath. You can bring the legs back up, bend the knees, plant the feet, lift your hips, remove any props that you might be using. Come on down. Let's stretch out the body. Right there. Always feels good to do that. Let's do a hip opener. Let's bring both knees into chest. I've been doing this other version of happy baby pose where you might flex the feet gently, not too forced, but slightly flexed, bent knees, holding onto the shins or knees with the hands and just taking the legs wide open. And let the elbows touch the floor. So the legs really just kind of rest in your hands. So this is one variation of happy baby I like to do, especially in soft flow, because you still get that inner thigh stretch and it doesn't feel too overwhelming. Now you certainly could kick the feet up into the air, hold on to the ankles or the soles of the feet for a little bit more of the traditional posture. But this is fine for now. Some deep breaths. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths here. Quickly, I'm just hop into the full happy baby pose just so you have a reference. Another hip opener, you're going to bring the soles of the feet together, set the feet onto the floor, and let the legs kind of naturally fall open. Now, if your blocks are still handy, you can place the blocks underneath the knees so they feel propped up. We did this seated. This is just the lying down version. And we'll hold here. I like this variation. Many people like this variation because it's quite relaxing. Especially when you've got something propped underneath the legs. They don't feel like they're being forced open, but they're relaxed open. Hopefully throughout the practice, you were able to still breathe slowly and deeply. You never really felt out of breath. And that's really our intention with soft flow. Moving in a way that you're still doing very engaging postures, but not in a forceful way. because we're trying to reduce the activation of that stress response that often occurs in our bodies. Let's take 2 more breaths. Instead, we're allowing the parasympathetic nervous system to take effect. And that's the rest and digest system. Rest and digest. Whereas the stress reaction is fight or flight, which we know quite well. All right, let's bring the knees together, hug them in towards the body, and we'll take a twist to finish. We'll start by taking the knees over to the left. If your block is over there, that's fine. The left leg can just rest on that block. Meanwhile, your right arm is extending out to the right side, helping you to create the twist. And just hold here for several breaths. We'll just take 3 more breaths on this side, but you're certainly welcome to hold this side a little bit longer. Sometimes twists feel really, really good. You want to hold them a little longer, and you're certainly welcome to do that. When you're ready, you can slowly return to center, lifting the knees. Might even hug the knees into your body. Just a moment for the spine to realign, and then we'll carefully take the knees over to the right side, and the left arm extends to the left, creating the rotation. Notice where your body experiences sensation in this movement. Perhaps your back, and maybe what portion of the back, maybe even in your hips. Three more breaths. And when you're ready to move, just return to center, one last hug, realigning, and then extend the legs straight out in front of you for Shavasana. And your arms can just relax down by your side. Of course, feel free to use any props that you might like to help support your body in this restorative position. Just a few minutes here just to end the practice. Close your eyes if you like, or just gaze upward with soft eyes. Perhaps a few deep breaths that allow you to then soften into mild, gentler breaths. Allow your whole body to relax. And as always, you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Moving only when you feel it's time to move. Really take advantage of this restful moment. Even as I end the practice and come to seated, you can stay just like this in Shavasana. When it is time to move, start with some deep breaths, maybe 5 slow deep breaths. Allowing a new energy to flow through your body. Starting to feel movement return. Take your time. These full deep breaths.
And after your fifth breath, moving as slowly as you can, roll to one side of your body. You will briefly pause in this nurturing pose. And carefully rise to seated, and feel free to sit on something soft, just as we did at the beginning of our practice. Your arms can just rest in your lap here, or bring hands to heart center. Wherever you are, just taking one more breath with me. And as we come to the close of this practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.